Welcome to Clever Title Pending with your host, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, and former mortician's assistant. Don't send him title recommendations because Brian knows exactly what he's doing. So just sit down and look pretty as Brian K. Morris scrolls through your comments and plays with his mouse. Join him on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, for Evening Pandemonium and Moonlight Madness.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, September 1st edition of 2020 of Clever Title Pending. I'm Brian K. Morris, and I thank you for watching us, whether you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook or listening to us on iHeartRadio. Welcome to the show. And if you're watching on Facebook, please give the page you're on a like if you would, and share it with your friends so that everyone can see the amazing people that you hang out with. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel here and give this video a thumbs up and hit that bell so that you can be notified of whenever we get on the air. All right. And this show is brought to you by Geek Insider and Rising Tide Publications, of all things. Anyway, that's what we do here, and gonna bring on somebody very special tonight. He is a crazy talented artist and a dear friend, and we are so privileged that this guy is taking the time out to be with the Nevermorians. And I hope that you will come up with some great questions for this man, because he's had quite a career and he's on the rise, and I think we can all learn a lot from him. I want to introduce my friend, Mr. Clayton Murwin. Clayton, how are you tonight, brother?
What's up? I'm doing just fine, brother. How you doing?
So far, so good. I haven't screwed anything up catastrophically yet, but the night is young. So anyway,
we can always make room for that to happen. Yeah, I mean, this is just how it goes.
That's true. This whole, some days this show is just one big blooper reel. So I get it. So anyway, Clayton, thank you for being here, man. Sincerely, thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight.
I'm very excited that and honored that you would have me on Clever Title Pending. I mean, it's funny how we came in contact. I was thinking about that the other day, and I just started watching your show one night. Started chatting to you, and the next thing I know, we're battling back and forth, and then I met Charles and some other people, and then it's just amazing how things work out sometimes. You know what I mean? So I mean, it chance meetings. I'm a firm believer. Things always happen for a reason. There's people come in and out of your life.
Yeah.
Some come in for, a time and a season, and they stay for a time and a season. Others come in for a little bit more permanent. Others come in and they can completely change your life around. Well, I think you're kind of falling in between the rafters there. You're here for a season and a time, but you're also changed my life around a little bit on my creative side. Because since I've got to know you, I got to know Charles, and I got to know Charles, and I got to know a whole bunch of other authors and a whole bunch of other people and a whole bunch of other creatives. And I tell you right now, there's some great people. You got a lot of great people in here
I agree.
That watch what you do and do what you do. I mean, and we all enjoy your show. You always take time to talk to us and to always read, let us promote what we're doing and stuff like that. And so you're a very gracious host, and I am more than honored to be a part of your show.
Well, it goes both ways, man, because you are a great friend and incredibly talented. I remember, what was it, about 2-3 months ago, you were drawing something on Charles F. Millhouse's Presents page, an illustration of the Shadow, who's one of my faves. Yeah. And you see illustrations and you go, I can't wait for that to be inked. But I'm looking at yours and I'm thinking, it doesn't need the ink. I would just shoot that straight from the graphite. You're crazy talented. But right now, what I want you to do, I'm going to just turn the spotlight on you, and I want you to tell everybody who you are, how you can be found, and just how awesome you are. All right.
Well, I wouldn't be too sure about being awesome, but anyway, my name is Clayton Murwin, aka the Heromaker. And funny thing about that name, I got that name from a newspaper reporter that did a story on me back in Virginia about 10, 12 years ago. And he was doing a story on me about creating heroes when I was actually doing my first serious graphic novel, which was Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, I didn't do the artwork in here, but I pulled a whole lot of people in the comic book industry together, artists, writers, indie, mainstream, you name it. And we all came together and we produced and I talked to the veterans and these are real life stories from guys who served in the military in the Iraq and Afghanistan war. And we took these stories and I got the great Jerry Bingham. He did artwork in this book. He did Batman Confidential. We got some indie people. We got Rick Parker, Craig Russell. Who else did I get? Tom Gabbard. He was an indie guy. Johnny Lowe from Sergeant C.J. Grisham's story. So I've been doing this for a while. This book actually was the first time anyone ever pulled together to try to create the NOM, which was done by Michael Golden and Larry Hama and those greats. And actually, the great Larry Hama, did the forward for this book, which you can see right here. There's Larry.
Nice.
And he actually did the forward for the book. And I was extremely honored that he did that. It's very hard to get Larry to do anything. He's very particular about what he's involved with. But I've known Larry for quite a few years, and I got a great deal of respect for Mr. Hama, along with Billy Tucci and a whole bunch of other people in the industry. But yeah, but getting back to me, so this is my first major publication that I did. Force Point Protection, they donated the money for the printing of the book. It was black and white, color cover. Nathan Thomas Milner did the cover for the book. The only thing, I pulled this whole thing together, ran the project, dealt with all the creators. The only thing I actually did in the book as far as artwork was a pinup. And I'm trying to see if I can find that real quick. Forgive me for bouncing around.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem.
But I did a pinup because we had some artists to do some pinups for the book as well. I'm trying to find it. What did I do with it? There, it should be right. Here we go.
I was going to say, while you're looking, here's trivia. Larry Hama is the only member of the comics community to ever show up in an episode of MASH.
Yeah, he was in MASH. The funny thing about Larry Hama, he is an amazing guy. The guy's a musician. He's a martial artist. He's ex-military. He's a veteran. He was in Vietnam. I love the man to death. He's a fantastic individual. I respect him highly, as I do a lot of the creators in the industry, especially the veterans, military veterans. I have a deep sense of, I'm not a veteran. Let me get that straight out. But I have been around veterans my entire life. And when I was homeless for 2.5 years, when I was young, I had a Vietnam vet that kind of took me under his wing. That's where my love for our vets came in, because he used to tell me while I was homeless, he used to tell me everything he went through while he was in Nam. So being an artist and being visual, I was able to actually live what he went through and what he would tell me visually. So that's where this idea came from. And so we were actually the first ones. And then to do this type of book. Now, Larry Hama and Michael Golden, and they did the NOM, but those were, stories that were written. They were based off of facts and stuff like that, but they weren't actual that I'm aware of. We actually used real stories. The same with the other books that I did. We were commissioned by the Department of Defense to do for the 60th anniversary of the Korean War, Korean War Volume 1 and Korean War, which is that one. Hold on, let me get it right. That one.
It takes a while to get that straight. Trust me.
Korean War Volume 1 and then Korean War Volume 2. I did the covers for both of these books. We've got Jerry Bingham did some artwork for them. Dan Monroe was my vice president of Heroes Fallen Studios. And these were done through my nonprofit organization, which was set up to do these books to help the troops and to help with PTSD issues and stuff like that. Actually, the DOD started picking my brain and asking me how I was able to get veterans to talk to me, because there's a major gap between veterans and the civilian community. Unless you're a combat veteran, they're very reserved. They don't talk to people outside of, it's a brotherhood. Because of my closeness with Charles when I was homeless, and I knew how to, and I've actually had vets ask me if I'm a vet, because they said, no way you can understand and feel the way you do without having been a vet. But living it through Charles the way he did, and I was at such a young age, it really made a major impact on me. I have done, unfortunately, my nonprofit didn't last. I'm not a really astute businessman. And unfortunately, I give away too much stuff. And I'm very particular in what I was going to do. And I refuse to take money for certain things or to charge for certain things. And even though my nonprofit was a business, and it needed to make money, I still didn't feel comfortable doing certain things to make money, because I already felt that, because I would do portraits for Gold Star mom and dads and family members who'd lost their loved ones killed in action or through suicide. And so I started doing portraits for the families. And I've done quite a few of those over the years, and I've become really close with the Gold Star mom and dads and brothers and sisters and wives that I've done that with. Eventually, I had wanted to start a community where the housing community for homeless vets, having been homeless and seeing our vet, because in my personal opinion, if you've served the country, there's no reason for any veteran to be homeless, period. There's really no reason in the richest country in the world that anybody should be homeless in America anyway. But that being said and done, it is what it is. And so it didn't happen. I did the best I could. But I've been doing this. My mom was an artist. She taught me to draw. Well, actually, she taught me to paint. And I was painting before I learned to draw. So I've actually started painting before I learned how to draw. Drawing came later when I was older, which is I would paint with a brush, or actually draw with a brush. Right. And that's how so things were very loose. And but then I would tighten everything up in my paintings. At 16, 17, and 18 years old, I was selling paintings for $1,000 a pop, $800 a pop. I did a lot of stuff in North Carolina and for the courthouse up there. I got family members, friends, people that have bought work. I was actually sitting on Nags Head Beach one day. I was working on a seascape, and I had some stranger walked up and said, "That's beautiful. How much do you want for it?" I said, "It's not even done yet. I'm still painting." He said, "You think you'll finish it today?" I said, "Well, probably." I said, "Probably later on around 4:00. He says, "Okay." Well, the guy came back about 4:30. He said, "So are you ready to sell it?" I'm like, "Well, it's not even dry." He said, "Well, how much do you want for it?" So I don't know, $1,000. He went, got the money, came back, gave me the money, walked away with the painting. I was like flabbergasted. I was like, whoa, I just made $1,000 on a wet painting. It was an oil painting. I told him, I said, "Be careful. It'll take about a week to dry."
Wow.
I was like, that was crazy. I had never had that happen before. It was absolutely amazing.
That is funny. That's great. Well, if you looked out the Crawl People, you can check out more of Clayton's work at artoftheheromaker.com. Plus, he also has a page on Facebook with that very same name. Check it out, and he does commissions, and we'll be talking about some of the stuff he's done for other publishers. in New Pulp and other places. Now, you mentioned that you learned to paint from your mother. Did you have any sort of other formal training, like school or anything? Just all from the family and then self-taught?
My mom taught me how to paint, and then she was an artist, and then I taught myself everything else I know. I've never been to school formally for it. I did go to school in my late 30s. I put myself through college and got a degree in associate's degree in computer graphics and design in 1998 when I graduated. Unfortunately, because I was in my 30s, even though I had a degree in computer graphics and design and desktop publishing, but nobody would hire me because I was older. Let me see how I can be. I was fresh out of college, but I was also older. So they knew they couldn't do what they normally do to someone that's younger and work them around because of my age and experience. They knew they couldn't do that with me. So I actually never worked in the field that I went to college for. So I've done freelance work as a computer graphic artist,
right,
and designer and desktop publishing. I mean, as you can see, I did everything for this book myself. I laid it. I had a friend of mine to help me lay it out on the to get it ready for print. But I basically laid out all the pages, decided what was going to go where, and this, that, and the other. But it's as far as I actually blew an art scholarship because I got kicked out of school in the 10th grade. And
what you do?
Yeah,
what you do?
Growing up, I was a bit of a hard-nosed kid. And unfortunately, I got kicked out of school. And when I got kicked out, I just never went back. Now, eventually, I went back and got my GED. I think I was 25 when I got my GED, 25, 26, somewhere around there. Got my GED, which allowed me to go to college in my 30s later on. The very first time I ever even touched a computer was when I was in college, and I was studying for my computer graphics, and I bought a G4 Apple Mac. G4 Tower Apple Mac cost me $2,500. This is back in the 90s.
Yeah, that was serious money back then. Not bad now.
Yeah, that was a lot of money back then, and it cost me $2,500. I bought that thing brand new, the monitor, everything. I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I never forget when I took the thing home, because I never had it. It had some kind of program on it where it was playing this like, I thought I broke it. I was like, how do you stop this? And I'm punching buttons and this, that, and the other. Because
James, stop this crazy thing.
I grew up in a small town. Even though I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida, I left Jacksonville when I was 12. Right. So because my parents, went opposite ways. So we went to North Carolina. So that's where I grew up for the remainder of my growing up. And then I came back to Florida. I'm kind of like a nomad. I've lived in North Carolina, Florida, Minnesota, Virginia, was in Maryland for a little while, lived overseas in the UK with my wife. Right. So I've been, seen a lot, done a lot, been a lot of places. That's awesome. It was kind of crazy.
I'd say, but got a few comments here, and hello to everyone who's shown up, and we're looking forward to your questions for Clayton Murwin here, illustrator and the art of the Heromaker. Cindy Capt says, that's incredible. She posted that about the time you were talking about selling that wet painting to that stranger. Yeah. And author Michaela Jade says, wow, that's amazing that you made that much money. Well, if you got the talent and right place in the right time, as we all know. And Rick Radley says, good evening, everyone. I see this really cool Heromaker and a Brian. I hope you know the difference, Rick. And if you need a paperback cover illustrator, let me recommend someone here for you. In fact, this is true of everybody. You've done a number of paperback illustrations. You want to drop some names?
Yeah. Actually,
you mentioned Ron 40 earlier, version 27. So
the first thing I did, I've been working with Charles Millhouse. He's an author, and I met Charles. I met Charles through you, bless his heart. And he commissioned me to do the cover for book 8 of Captain Hawklin and the Ghost Army, which I have right here. And
I don't know where you picked up this habit of having your books nearby for display.
Watching you too many times here, big guy. And I got your books in my case right over here too.
We love you. You're our favorite now. Go on, Clayton.
I got you, Bobby Nash, and Charles, James Palmer, a whole bunch of people. You know, I mean, you guys rock. I love your work. But anyway,
thank you.
Getting back to Captain.
Yes,
so
please.
Captain Stephen Hawklin, right? Now, I haven't read this yet, so I've been sitting here with bated breath waiting to get hold of it. So I was in such a hurry to get it, I didn't even wait for my comp copy from Charles. I ordered this off of Amazon myself because Charles said, I'm not going to be able to get it to you before the show. I said, that's okay. I'll take care of it. So I ordered it on Amazon, and I've actually been reading it. I'm on chapter 3, and I love it. Just like the rest of Charles's books. And by the way, let me say this.
Okay.
Bobby Nash, Charles F. Millhouse, and Brian K. Morris are some of the. I am a reader, an old reader, and I used to really love to read. I used to escape into reading. You guys are some of the top talent that I have read in lately in the industry.
Thank you.
Today, because it's fresh. How can I say? It's fresh work. It's not something that has been regurgitated, if that makes sense. I like writers like Clive Barker, Stephen King, even though some of his work lately has been kind of, but his older work was much better. Some of his newer stuff is, but I still like him. I'm on the fence with James Patterson. He's sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not.
His.
Yeah. It's certain, but you guys are phenomenal in what you do, and you grab your. For the life of me, I can't think of the name of it now. Skyrocket Man.
Skyman.
Skyman, yeah.
Skyman. The original Skyman. That was the master.
You kept me right on the enthralls on that the whole time I was reading it. I mean, it was
Thank you.
And I loved it.
I appreciate that.
But and I've read every one of the Charles's books. I've read Bobby's book. I got to get Bobby's new book, the new one that he's got coming out that just came out. I haven't had a chance to get it, and I want to get a Snow series, but that's dropping a lot of money right off the bat. So I mean, because he's got quite a few books on that one, and I'm trying to work that one out.
Yeah. I'm listening to the audiobook of Snowfalls right now. Yeah. So good stuff.
But I'm a paperback guy. The audios are cool, and if you're in a pinch, you want to listen to them and stuff. But I like to do this. I like to open it and feel it.
Oh yeah.
Smell it. It's just like doing this. How can I say it? With my Batman, because everybody knows I'm a huge Batman
Which issue is that? Which issue is that?
This is issue number 140, Batman 142. Off-white pages, Bill Finger story, Sheldon Moldoff and Charles Paris art.
Yep.
So, that's the oldest.
Oh yeah, yes. Oh,
but I love
that's lovely.
So,
you do a lot. You've done a lot of Batman illustrations. If you go to Art of the Heromaker, you'll see some of the paintings that Charles has done of the Dark Knight himself. So very cool.
My wife, she gets on me all the time. She says, "You are a fantastic artist, but when you're not painting Batman." And I'm like, well, honey, I can't help it. I love Batman. And that's the thing with Batman. Like, I kind of feel like a Batman.
Yeah.
Batman is the thing that really got me with Batman. This is what got me into comics. And Superman was okay. I'm a DC guy. I always have been, always will be. Yep, there you go. I like Superman, and he's cool. But I mean, the guy he's the most powerful being in the universe. Okay,
Yeah.
nothing can happen to him. Nothing can do anything to him. And then, but then you got Bruce Wayne, billionaire playboy.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that man got is a vendetta, vengeance, money, and it's
several $1 billion. Yeah,
and it's smarts.
Yeah,
and he's an astute detective, and he's able to take and figure with his billions of dollars. Astute detective, and I mean, he's a superhero, but there's nothing super about him other than the fact he's got loads of money and he can do whatever he wants to. But he's trained his body to the maximum ability to be able to do it, and he's extremely intelligent. So he's always a step ahead. He's a detective, the Dark Knight, the detective, and he's a step ahead. That right there, it's just like with Gene Simmons from Kiss.
Yes.
The demon was always, which I did when I was younger. I had a band called Black Velvet, and I was Gene Simmons. I had the whole long tongue thing, and actually I got a photograph of me on my Facebook page somewhere in my photos of me as Gene Simmons. But that being said,
nice.
But it's the same thing with Kiss. Kiss was, I gravitated towards Gene. The old Universal Monsters, the old pulp magazines. I grew up watching stuff like Elvis Presley, the old black and white films because my mom loved that stuff. Yeah. And even though I was born in '64, and I was raised pretty much in the late '60s, early '70s. I was 70. We had the godforsaken silk shirts with the and the mullets and the
I remember
corduroy pants and all that stuff. But I mean, I really gravitate towards that old feel. I love everything dark, everything gothic, everything old, everything. The old detectives, just Sherlock Holmes. I love Sherlock Holmes. The Shadow, the Green Hornet, the Spirit. These things. These are the things. And then you take and more futuristic. Then you got the Crow. J.O. Barr's the Crow. I met J.O. Barr. He is one of the nicest freaking men you'll ever want to meet. He is, and he's extremely approachable. And he will, he's not Darwin Cook, bless his heart. He's no longer with us, but I got a chance to meet a lot of these guys, a couple of guys before they passed away. Mm-hmm. And actually Darwin was going to do something with us, but unfortunately it didn't work out to be able to do that. But, I met these guys and Bud Root and a whole bunch of other guys. I mean, Billy Tucci.
He's great.
I love Billy. He has got so much enthusiasm about everything that he does. I'm actually waiting for my rewards for She right now. He just Warrior. Yeah, because I backed that, so I can't wait to get the rest of them. But that being said and done, So what were we talking about?
Who knows? But anyway, if you didn't look at the comments, Michaela, yes, 1 second, Michaela Jade, you've made a fan. Tongue.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, Michaela will be stalking you now. But anyway, go on about your covers now. Drop some names, my friend.
I got the Eye of Dawn. Airship 27 Publications. Ron Fortier, written by author Bradley Senior. Senior. The cover was done by Ted Hammond. I did not do the cover for this book. But it's a beautiful cover. He did a fantastic job on it. But I was asked to do 9 illustrations for the book, which I did a couple of illustrated. That was one of the first ones I did. He wanted the old pulp feel about it, so I did that for him.
Very cool. You got it there. You got it.
Yeah, and then I've got quite a few different illustrations in the book throughout the book.
Yeah, nice.
And unfortunately, I am, and Ron can probably verify this. I am so detail oriented, and because I am so, if things are not right, I will redo it until I get it right. and even if it means having to start completely over.
Yeah.
So these are just some of the illustrations that I did for the interior of the book. So I mean, and then the very last illustration I decided to do was probably the most intensive as far as art.
Right. Let's get you on the big screen there. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, architecture and machines. And people don't realize how hard it is to draw, not just machines and architecture, but normal people. Because, spandex and everything, clings to their bodies. So you're basically drawing naked people, but which I don't mind.
Yeah.
But the thing is, how clothing drapes on people, how light, the way the light hits them and all. Yeah, so drawing just normal people with normal proportions, that people don't understand how really difficult that can be. Got another one for us?
Yeah, I got one more. And I'm terrible for putting myself in my books.
Oh, let's see, hold it up, just raise it just a little. I'll direct. Oh, I think I see someone familiar there in the top right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm terrible for that. I'm always putting myself in my art. The same with the Hard Bastards. I'm one of the main characters in that. Ooh,
You should. Yeah, we did not hear that. We did not hear that.
Didn't hear that. But anyway,
and it wasn't for the word he used either. Now shush. We were talking about that before. So
this is the Eye of Dawn. You can get this on Amazon. It's produced by Airship 27 Publications. Yep. Just search for the Eye of Dawn by Bradley H. Senior, however you say his name. I say Senior.
I think Senor. I'm not sure. I'm not sure either.
I'm not really 100% sure, but
it's probably pronounced Smith.
Yeah, you can get this on Amazon. You can get. You can get Captain Hawklin on Amazon. Type in Captain Hawklin, the Ghost Army, or Charles F. Millhouse.
Yep.
You can also get this little thing, which I happen to appear in, along with a couple other people. And in good company with Mr. Brian K. Morris. We are Who's Who in New Pulp.
Yeah, and, just recently released from Airship 27. And Charles F. Millhouse is in there. Bobby Nash is in there. Rob Davis, whole bunch of Ron Fortier, a whole lot of really cool people. And Michaela Jade Hard-Watwell.
And there's the Heromaker.
There he is, just like on the promo for this show. And
so I'm
great, man.
So I've been doing quite a bit. Prior to this, my very first published book was that book right there. Mine, Hunter Omega, by a independent startup comic company, which is no longer in operation, unfortunately. And actually, I'm still friends with the owner that owned it. And looking at this, I cringe at some of the artwork.
Don't we all with our older work?
This was done back in, when was this done? This was done years ago. And the artwork, some of my proportions and some of it looks really good. And then some of it looks really horrible. And then some of my proportions and bodies are a little out of whack. And I'm going, okay, that doesn't, looking at it now. See, this is the thing about stuff when it's in print, right? You go back and you pick it up 15 years. This is a long time ago. And I'm looking at it now and I'm going, at the time I thought, wow, that's fantastic. I did a great job. And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, I really probably shouldn't even put that. Can
I buy back all the copies before anyone else sees this? I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm still proud of it. It was my first published.
You should be.
Work,
you should be.
With an independent company. So I've never been published with Marvel or DC or anything like that. But I am a published, artist. I've done a lot
Hey,
of
Capt.
work. I'm trying to get some. I've been published in 2 military. I was published in Journal of Military Experience, Volume 2, and the Journal of Military Experience, Volume 3. That was put out by the University of Kentucky with Travis Martin, who was a former Army vet.
Right.
Again, I illustrated one-page illustration of people's stories that were real stories. So I did the artwork. And actually, if you, I'm trying to get, I had copies of the books, but unfortunately, when I moved to England last time, I had to sell a lot of stuff. So unfortunately, one thing or another, I've lost a lot of the stuff that I had.
It happens.
But I'm reaching out to people that may have copies and stuff of it and trying to recoup or find it. Unfortunately, I cannot find these online anymore because they're out of print. So unless it's somebody that has a copy of it, but I am trying to get Volume 2. Volume 3 never went to print. It was only in ebook form. So that was the only way you could get Volume 3. But I did artwork for Volume 3, and I did artwork for Volume 2. Volume 2 was Journal JME2 was the military book that I did. Then I did a short 8-page story for Nathan Thomas Milner in his book on the silencer for the Malevolent that he did. He's actually he's moved into he works for one of the horror magazines now. I know he's working for Horror Hound magazine.
Oh, nice.
I think he's moved into something else now. He's a fantastic artist in his own right. And he is the one that actually Nathan illustrated this cover.
Nice. Yeah.
Now, if you look really, really close, you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it online or not, but let me see if I can show it. Hold on. Right here in the corner here, let me see. You can see there's like a stamp right there. Can you see the embossed?
Yes.
That says these were officially done, and they were done by Heroes Fallen Studios, Inc., organized seal in 2010.
Wow.
In Virginia. So that's when these were limited numbers that had the actual seal on the book.
Oh, that's great.
So we produced those, and we did quite a bit of stuff. But we had some great artists involved with all of the books that we did. Volume 1 of the Korean War Volume 1 was not. That was the only one that we did that wasn't based. That was based on historical fact. That was not actual stories from the veterans. It was written by Richard C. Meyer, who was a vet, and it was illustrated by Richard C. Meyer. I did the cover for it. He was. Unfortunately, we don't have much to do with each other anymore. At the end of the day, but he did a fantastic job on the book. I got to give him his thumbs up on that, and I'm honored that he worked with us on that. And then Volume 2 of Korean War, we had several artists, and myself, Dan Monroe worked on it. I'm just going to read you some of the people involved. We had Eric White, who's an independent colorist. Tom
Orzechowski.
I always have trouble saying Tom's last name, Orzechowski.
You had no idea how long I practiced that back in the day. So
Tom did all of the lettering for both books for us.
Yeah, talented letterer.
He's a fantastic guy. God bless Tom. I love Tom. He's a fantastic guy. But Tom was involved with all three of. Actually, Tom was involved with all three of my books. He did Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan. He did Korean War Volume 1, and he did Korean War Volume 2. So without Tom Orzechowski, I would not have. I would not have had these books created. But we had inks and finishes were done by Brian Shearer on some of them. We had Charles Hearn, who was a fantastic tattoo artist. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years I think it was 2 years ago. I got news that he had passed, and he did a fantastic story. Did the artwork for Corporal Rodolfo P. Hernandez story. It was penciled, and I'm sorry, hold on, let me get it right. No, he did Private David W. Mills story. 17. Charles did the pencils for that. Brian Shearer did the inks. Tom did the lettering, and High Five Coloring did the art, the colors.
Yeah, okay, I'm familiar with them.
Valor was written by, which is Corporal Rudolfo P. Hernandez story, was done, penciled by Travis Miller and myself. I went over some of the pencils with Travis, but Travis did the majority of the pencils in the book. I did the finished pencils on it. Inks were done by Brian Shearer. Tom did the lettering, and the colors were by Lynn O'Grady. Mm-hmm. So we had Dan Monroe did Guts, which was by Major General Frederick Corbin Boots Blessing. Now, that's a fantastic guy. Boots Blessing was the guy that actually he was the #1 pilot during World War II. He had the most shoot downs of any other pilot in the U.S. And he actually, they took his notebooks and his stuff, and actually he is the reason most people today, what he had written down and stuff, is used to teach the new recruits in the military. Nice. Now, I did a portrait of Mr. Blessy in the back of the book.
Let me get
to honor him.
There you go. Nice. Good work. He
passed away 3 days before the books were published. So unfortunately, he never got a chance to see it. And
that's a shame.
When we interviewed these vets, mm-hmm. I had a veteran, Scott Lee, and my writer, Valerie Finnegan, and she's an independent writer. She actually is suffering from lupus now, and she's having all kinds of medical issues. But bless her heart, she was the writer for all 3 of my books. So she did all the writing for all the stories. Miss Finnegan did. She did a fantastic job. I can't praise her enough for what she did. And but her and Scott Lee, Scott was a Desert Storm vet. He suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and stuff like that. So he interviewed all of the people for the Korean War books.
Oh, nice.
Because I felt like I could have done it, but yeah. I felt they would open up more with another veteran than they would with me. Even though I'm very good at dealing with the vet, it's still, I felt that. And that's what our success was. I never forget Captain Schilling, who was at the time the head of the DOD. He actually approached me and was bleeding my brain. He says, "How did you get the guys to talk to you?" Mm-hmm. I said, "It's real simple. You don't judge them,
right,
and you listen to them. That's all you got to do. You don't judge them and you listen to them. And you definitely don't sit there like this, like a deer with it caught in the headlights. Look, you know, what people don't understand with a lot of our vets is when they go to war, war is a horrible thing, and nobody wants to do it, but you're taught certain values and stuff and it takes us, just like I'm a former correctional officer. I worked in the Department of Corrections, right? And it takes a certain type of mentality to be able to do that, because I'm dealing with murderers, pedophiles, rapists, and everything. And I did this, and I worked on the Red Unit, which is one of the we got the worst of the worst on the Red Unit.
Oh, yeah.
And the prison that I worked for was a gang prison, so in Bertie County in North Carolina. So at the end of the day, you go in there, you're a completely different person than when you come out. So, and you trying to live, it's like trying to live 2 dual lives, where you have to be this type hard, quote, bastard during the day, and then you've got to come home to the family and your friends and everybody else and be a completely different person. You know how hard that is to try to juggle?
Oh, sure. Like a cop. It'd be like a cop who, you know, you can't leave it just on the job. Yeah.
Or anybody that deals with trauma or stress or people don't realize that it takes, not every person can do it. And it takes a specific type of people to be able to do what they do. So our veterans, not every person is cut out to be a military vet or to go into the military. So there are specific people that are able to do that. But also the mission is the #1 most important thing. You get brainwashed into thinking that. So they go into this, the mission's #1. They have to do things that they never really in a million years would have thought themselves doing in order to survive. And they don't want to come back home and talk to the family and their friends and have their family and friends looking at them any differently than when they went in, if that makes sense to you.
No, they don't want to be judged because people on the outside don't have the same points of reference.
And that's why they medicate and try to but see, the problem is when you try to put all this stuff in that little black box and keep it pushed to the back of the mind, eventually it comes out. It either comes out in the drugs, it comes out in abuse, it comes out in whatever. And so when we were doing these books, we were trying. I can't tell you the number of the veterans that contacted me and said, you know what, sitting there actually reading my story and seeing how you all did it and the way you respectfully done it helped me to understand I did only thing I could do in my time. I got called at 2:00, and my wife can verify this. I would get called at 2:00 in the morning from Iraq.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Veterans that were hearing about what we were doing and wanted to be involved in it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I would get a call from a vet. And not only because of my nonprofit and what I was doing to help the vets, not only were we doing this, but I was also giving an ear to veterans. Mm-hmm. If they needed to talk or have somebody, and I still, every now and then, I'll get one of my veteran friends will contact me and just talk to me. I know when my pastor at the time, and he was also on my board of trustees. He was on my board of trustees. He turned around and asked me to go with him to a meeting one day. And I'm like, to this guy's house. And I said, for what? Well, he said his son just got back from Iraq and he was injured. And I just think you would be good to talk to him. So I go in there and I'm like, okay, I don't know why you're the pastor. I'm just nobody, but I'll go with you. His name was Joe Seacrest. His dad was a Vietnam vet, and I think a Korean War vet as well. Okay. So I went in there and we were talking and stuff like that. But, being able to sit down and listen and just let them talk. Sometimes it's just like with anything, any type of traumatic experience or anything. You don't have to be a military vet to have trauma. You don't have to be a police officer to have trauma. You don't have to, anybody can go through trauma. Right. Anybody can have PTSD. Anybody can have, depression and down and this, that, and the other. But a lot of times, a lot of people, all they want to do is they want someone to listen to them. When writers write and when artists illustrate, we do this as a form of self-medication a lot of times. This is how we express ourselves. This is how we put ourselves out there. And if we don't like certain things, then we can attack it in a story. We can attack it in a piece of art. We can do so. There is therapy in writing. There is therapy in artwork. There is therapy in this stuff. And I don't mean to be getting off and going into like becoming Dr. Freud or something like that. But if anybody wants to know who I am, that's me. I had a really messed up childhood. I had a great mom. She loved me to death. I had a shitless dad. And, I have struggled for everything. I've lost and started over 5 times in my life from absolutely nothing. So at the end of the day, but every time I start over, I move up, I move up, I move up. So that's what we have to do. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep moving forward. And this right here, these books, these illustrations that we write, the stories that we write, the stories that we read, if we connect with something and we're able to connect with it on a certain level, or a writer, or connect a story, or connect with an artist, these things, this is what makes us who we are. And sometimes it saves our lives. I can't begin to tell you how many times growing up, Batman was my hero. Yeah. And that's why I love Batman. I mean, I got a Batman watch on.
Nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with that.
But Batman was a vigilante. He was kind of an anti-hero, but yet he had a certain code that he followed. And, that's kind of like where I stand on a lot of things. So anyway, all right, I'm done talking. You got
No, you aren't. You still got another 5 hours to go. No, hey, would you thank you for sharing all that. Seriously, that is some powerful stuff right there, Clayton. It really is. Would you like to take some questions from our viewers now?
Anybody got anything you want to ask? Feel free to ask me. I'm as long as it ain't about my sex life or anything like that.
Up for another episode of Clever Title Pending, and no, we've got some great questions here. And again, Clayton, seriously, thank you very much for what you have been doing for people who have served our country, and for all that you have done in your life. And I agree, you get knocked down, you just come back, and you come back stronger. Now, we've got some questions here. Ted Davies Artistry, and welcome to everyone that's joined us on the show and who may be listening later on iHeartRadio. Ted Davies Artistry asks, what was the worst experience with an art client, and how did it shape your business savvy with later clients? Have you had I see that smile, and I was going to ask if you've had any bad clients. I think everyone in the creative field who does work for somebody else has a bad client or two. Let's hear yours, and how did you move on from there?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well,
okay, just narrow it down to one or two.
Yeah, let's put it this way. Okay. I will not do anything unless it's a charity or something I want to do for somebody, a friend, a family member, a charity, or a special event or something like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I do a lot of free stuff. My wife yells at me all the time. You do too much for free, honey. You need to start charging, and you need to stop doing it so cheaply. I'm like, well, I will never get rich being an artist. I'm going to tell you that right now. Right, That's why I work for Amazon. I will never, because my wife tells me all the time, I just don't like seeing you getting taken advantage of. I'm not getting taken advantage of, honey. I'm willing to do it. No, but seriously, the worst one for me was a friend. I had a friend of mine, an old high school friend, contacted me, wanted me to do an illustration for him. Told me didn't matter how much it was. And she just come up, don't mention any names. I'm not mentioning any names, honey. But she's my conscience. She's like the devil sits on one side, the angel sits on the other side, right? She's my angel. So she always makes me do everything good, while the devil's sitting over here and he's pulling me that way. But anyway.
And he wears a fez. But anyway.
So he was a friend of mine. I did the artwork. I sent it in. He suddenly disappeared. No contact, no nothing. I tried to get back on. Then, on top of that, to make matters worse, he gets back in touch with me 6 months later. Oh, I'm sorry. I had all kinds of stuff happen at that time. I'll get that money right out to you. So once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So if you're a friend of mine, I don't do anything where it's going to charge because it bad. Now, in saying that, I have a couple of commissions that I'm still working on from a year ago, unfortunately, and people have I've got only I think it's 2 people that have paid me for it, and I'm still working on them. I've got so much going on and but I keep in contact with them, and I am getting their stuff to them. So that's one thing about me. If I can't get it done in the time frame allotted, I will let you know. I won't just disappear, and I will not take your money. And I will also ask you, do you want your money back? If you want your money back, I will give your money back to you. And say, if you're willing to wait, I appreciate it. But a lot of times what I do is in a situation like that, if I've had a commission over the time that I should have had it, then whatever else is owed on the commission, I just forego. Because I've already been paid. I take half up front. So it's just like anything. And see, this is something that always bugged me, right? Any business, I don't care what it is that you work for, whether it's an electrician, a plumber, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. You'll call them. They'll give you an estimate. They'll tell you what it's going to cost you. They come in and do the work, and you pay them. Most of them, you have to pay them before they'll do the work. or they'll do the work and then you pay them when they complete the work. Artists are the only, and writers are the only people I know of that get screwed around. Oh, well, that's too much money. Can you do it for this? And I'm like, what is it about what we do? It's not something that not everybody can do. Not everybody can draw. Not everybody can write. So why in the hell are you going to come in here and try to beat me down and get me on my prices and tell me I'm too high? Yeah. If you can't afford it, then don't bother me. If you let me rephrase that. If you can't afford what my price is, talk to me. I will see if we can work something out. If we can work it out so that it's fair on both sides, then yeah. Otherwise, I will do it. 90% of the time I wind up doing it for nothing.
Yeah. I hear you.
Especially if it's charity stuff.
Yeah.
God help me. I cannot. My wife gets on me all the time about it. She says, you give way too much away for free. I'm doing stuff for people. But see, now I also like doing barter. I will barter. You want something? You got something I want. Let's do an exchange. Maybe half, a little money here, a little this there, and a little that, and then so that we can work it out. And I've done that before. And it works. It works great. Something like if you have something I would like, I say, okay, Brian. What am I thinking? Rick.
He's coming up. Rick's coming up. He's next in the queue.
Brian. So you want a cover, right? So you want a cover for $3. Okay, Brian. Well, maybe. Okay. Let's see what we can work out. Let's see. I could do the cover for your book. You give me a couple of free book, and maybe I do a half of what it would normally cost. And a couple of, tight things.
He's trying to seduce me.
It's called the old barter system. I miss the old barter system. Because I have a service somebody likes and somebody wants to use it, and they've got something that I like, then let's barter and exchange. Now, I love money just like everybody else, but money is not do all in all. I'm an artist, first and foremost.
Right.
I'm a starving artist. If I had to make a living on what I'm getting I'd be dead. I'd be a famine crawled up in the corner somewhere with my ribs sticking out, and
I feel you.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes. Well, lots of questions, and I think your wife and mine would get along very well, unfortunately. And you mentioned Rick. And, just like Beetlejuice, you say it 3 times and he pops up. There he is, Rick Bradley. So have you always drawn on paper or canvas in this case, or have you also done some digital art? And which do you prefer and why? I bet I know which one you prefer.
I am a traditionalist. I prefer drawing on paper. I prefer painting on canvas. I prefer doing it the old-fashioned way. I like the feel of the ink. I like the ink on my hands. I like the paint on my clothes. I like the smudges from the artwork on my paper. I am an artist, right? All this digital stuff is fantastic. I can do digital artwork. I can draw on the digital. I have a digital pad that I draw on. I can color. Now, I do all my coloring for comic style work and poster work on the computer.
Right.
Okay. The shadow I just did. The pencils, I colored that on the computer.
Oh, right? That was lovely.
That was colored with the computer. I scan my pen. This is what I do on that. I'll scan my pencils, right? Because of the detail of my pencils and the way I do them, it's dark enough to scan it. I do a layer.
Right.
In Photoshop, I cut the opacity down on the layer to about 30, and then I color it. And then I do another layer if I want it a little bit darker, and then I color that. And I build on those layers so that my pencils are still shining through on the bottom. But then, so I don't need to ink it. And so I've got finished artwork look, the old finished artwork look, and it's colored and it's painted, but it looks like it was painted.
Nice. It looked great.
Speaking of art, let me show you something here.
Just happens to have it by his side there. What a coincidence.
Yeah. It's quite a coincidence, actually.
I don't know where he picks this stuff up.
I don't either, man. I mean, I'm
a bad influence on the boy.
Well, you know that piece that I was working on a while back, the shadow, right?
Yes, yes.
And I just did a quick post on it. This is
All
the
right.
actual size of it, and
Ooh.
with you know, on just regular old paper, and it's done with pencils, ink, and watercolor. So those are the three. Now I can scan that. Now I use, unlike a lot of people, I don't do all my artwork on the computer. I will scan the artwork into the computer, and then I will use it to enhance either the colors, the pencils, or what have you, and use that to exemplify and enhance the work to make it look better, whether it's color contrast or what have you. This piece was a commission that I did, and it's Superman in war, and this is actually dedicated to Sergeant Garza, United States Army, for his mom. I did it for her.
That's
and
lovely.
Superman's cape back here in the back where he's dropped it, and Superman's carrying him out. And then you've got all the damage and the helicopters coming in, the medevac.
Yeah.
So, you know, so now this is a photocopy of the original artwork. So the original artwork was given, and it was original watercolor that was given to the mother who commissioned me to do the piece.
Very
now,
cool.
I keep pieces. This is a Batman piece, and this is all inks.
Nice. Love that detail. That is painstaking work, and I emphasize pain.
That's what kills me, because I do so much detail. This is a piece of now this is another one, and this is kind of sad actually. I was asked to do this for a fallen soldier, and unfortunately they never got it, because and this is the original artwork. So I don't know what happened there, but
oh man,
I won't throw it away or get rid of it. I just keep it as a remembrance of him. But see, this is me. That's how my pencils are.
Yeah, and the thing is, those are so dark. Those are so detailed. You know, shooting off of those would be. Yeah. Oh, and I see those lovely comics in the background there. Yes. Yeah.
That's what that's dedicated to, is the old pulp, the old comics. You know. So I mean, I do a lot of stuff like that. I've got a couple of pieces that I'm trying to find my other.
Well,
I apologize.
No problem. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's shoot a couple easy questions for you. Well, Michaela Jade says the crow. Love that it can't rain all the time. Definitely.
Crow, love that. I can't rain on. Yeah.
It says that. Love it. It can't rain all the time. And while you're looking for that, Clayton, Cindy Capt wants to know, what's your favorite genre to read?
I love horror, and I love mystery, and I love action and adventure, and I have quite a few, but I'm into horror, action, you know, anything that keeps fast paced, keeps me humped up, keeps me going. You know, I can't wait to turn the page to see the next thing, you know. So I kind of like mystery. I love his work too, and I actually did some. This was an advertisement I did for him.
Oh, Brad Meltzer, yeah. He's done comics, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, I like Brad's work. I've read pretty much every book he's done, and
he is good.
It. And then I got, let's see.
Yeah, and while you're looking, Teresa Dunn says, Clayton, you are amazing.
Well, thank you.
I think we agree on that. And Michaela Routley would like to know any tips for a small artist. Michaela is in her teens, and she is just starting her art career. I think she's in her teens.
Okay. if you're an artist and you want to get into art, the best thing I could tell you, draw from life.
Yep.
Keep a pad, keep a pencil, paper, pad, or something with you. And if you see something, it's just like a writer. If you're a writer, you always keep a notebook with you. So if you think of something while you're happening to be walking around, you can jot it down. There you go. Right. So you always want to keep. You can keep actually get little sketch pads. That about the size of a sketch card here, and you can get these sketch pads. What have I got here going on here? Oh yeah, speaking of that, these are some sketch cards I'm working on for Bomber Beauties. But anyway, get you a pad and a pencil. Sit down, draw your boyfriend, draw the wall, draw the cat, draw the flower sitting on the thing. Walk through, look at things. An artist looks at things differently than other people. We see things. I can go into a building and I can sit and look at the plaster on the wall or look at the granite flooring, and I will pick out pictures and images in the patterns. We tend to see things a little differently than anyone else. We're more observant than the average person because our mind doesn't. We think on a more creative side of things, so therefore we're opened up more. If that makes any sense.
It does.
So we tend to see things not really. We see things as they are, but we also see things that are really actually more than what they are, if that makes any sense at all. Yeah. I used to love to go out. One of my favorite things to do when I was a kid, I would take, and you guys don't laugh at this yet, okay, but I would take my G.I. Joes, right, my little G.I. Joes, my 12-inch figures. I grew up in that era, okay? I love G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
Yo.
But I'd get my G.I. Joes, and I'd go off in the woods, right? And there happened to be this one area back behind my uncle's property, and it had a little creek that run right along it, and it had this it was like this opening area, and it had these holly trees all around it, but it also had like stones and stuff like that from an old stone fence and stuff. So it was like an old fortress and stuff. So I would get my Joes and I would go out there, and I'm talking, I did this probably up until I was about 15 years old. But anyway, I would get my Joes and I'd go out and I would just get lost in it and pretend and have all kinds of adventures. I used to build, when we were kids, we didn't have cell phones and we didn't have smartphones and we didn't have all these technological things that we had. So we had to make things exciting ourselves. I would build the old remember Gilligan Island? Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
I would build lean-tos in the woods out of pine straw and old limbs, using nothing but limbs and stuff, and just stack everything up. And we would put all this stuff up, and I would have freaking amazing adventures all through that, battling giants and all kinds of. I mean, we had imagine. I tried to get my kids. I have 5 kids. I tried to get my kids when they were my boys. And I took them when we were living in Melbourne, Florida. And I took them, I said, let's go out in the woods. Let's build. And they're like, what are we going to do that for? Can we go play on the PlayStation? I'm like, no, we're going to drive. I tried to get they just were not into it. You could not. You could pull the eye teeth out of an alligator's butt quicker than you could have got those kids to do that. I mean, it's the generational divide today compared to what. And I'm pretty apt, considering I never touched a computer until I was in my 30s. So I'm pretty apt with the computer. I learned pretty good on it, and I get along and do it pretty well. But the imagination has been, to me, and that could be me, has been stifled to a degree, whereas I got to be careful not to step on toes. You know what I'm saying?
That's my job.
Yeah. It's let's just put it this way. Things are not like things could be a little bit better if some things were to go back the way they used to be.
Yeah.
In some aspects. Because the whole
Yeah, well, the thing is, we had to create our own entertainment back in the day, before the internet, before we had 500 channels on TV and nothing on. You and I came from a generation where we had to entertain ourselves, whereas now a lot of people are used to constant stimulation, looking at the phone, and somebody else is doling out their entertainment to them.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that's what you're trying to think of. Not to put words in your mouth, but
yeah, I mean, it's to the point, I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I check Facebook every day, and
sure.
But I use Facebook as a means to reach people and to share my artwork and to better and improve my ability to do what I love to do. That's what I'm using it for.
Sure.
But I'm also posting, like I posted my recliner. Oh, I got a new recliner, so I posted about it. Hey, look at what I ate for breakfast this morning. Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just that we've become I think we've become desensitized in a way to a degree that, and we've also got to where a lot of us are really, really brave behind the computer, and we tend to say things that we would normally never say to someone's face.
Right.
And I look at things like this. Every single person in this planet is of value. I don't care who you are and what you do. Everybody has value. Okay? No one is any better than anyone else. I don't care who you are, where you came from, what you do. We all breathe, we all bleed, we all do. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what part of the country you're from. I don't care what part of the world you're from. I don't care about any of that stuff. At the end of the day, we all have value. And that's what we do. And we need to be kinder to one another and stop being hateful and being, just because somebody doesn't like somebody about something that they did or some voting for this, and I don't get into politics. I keep that out.
We're not doing it on this show. No.
To myself, and I don't never talk about it. But we need more love in this world, and we need to be there for one another and support one another. And only then will we truly be great. Period.
I agree. I couldn't have said it better, sir. Michaela Jade asks, how much time do you spend on your artwork daily, or how often do you work on your art?
I probably draw a lot less than I want.
Don't we all?
Yeah. If it were me, when my wife, bless her heart, when she was gone for the 2 years and I was trying to get her back over here in the U.S., my art was the only thing that sustained me.
Oh, sure.
I drew. I mean, when I got off work, that's all I did. I drew because I was so depressed because she wasn't with me I just recently got my wife back after 2 years separation, and we've been married for 20 years. And two of those years we were separated, but not because we wanted to be, but because our governments wouldn't let us be together.
Right.
But I finally got her back, and I put on some weight too. Because
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But I finally got her back. But my artwork now, since she's gotten back, naturally I'm working more, this, that, and the other, and plus I got with her. So my time to draw and illustrate, I've got to juggle a lot more than I did before. So I don't have quite as much time to draw. Plus with working, I was doing 10-hour days. I'm now on an 8-hour shift, which is a little bit better. But still, when I get home at night, I'm tired and I just can't really concentrate. I'm not like most artists. If I am not I cannot push it out. I have to be in the mood to do it. If I'm not in the mood to do it, then you're going to get shit from me, because it'll look like shit. It'll look like shit. It'll smell like shit. It'll act like shit. Pardon my French, but that's what it is. I cannot draw unless I want to, unless I'm in the mood to do it. Unfortunately, If I'm extremely tired, I can get in the mood to do it, but if I'm extremely tired, then I don't do it. So to answer that question, I don't draw as much as I would like to. I would love to be able to, if I had a job where I can make a living doing my artwork, where I actually drew for a living, that would, oh, dear Lord, please, I ask for that every day. But anyway, I would
hashtag bring Clayton home.
be very, very happy. That's one thing I always wanted to do was be able to make a living on doing what I love to do. And they say then your work is never a job or chore. Well, unfortunately, I hate what I do.
Yeah, Clayton was telling me about it before we started the show. What was it? You have to justify. I hope I don't get you in trouble here, but you have to justify the time you go to the bathroom.
Yeah. I got to justify time off task. We everything is time sensitive when you in the job that I do. So unfortunately, it puts us in a situation where you can't talk. It's like you're a robot. So you cannot. Yes, I am. I'm coming. Pick up, put in. And next thing you know, but
yeah. Oh, I hear you. Well, hopefully, there we go. Yeah. And there's a little robot there, and hopefully we can get let's make Clayton busy so he can come home, for the love of God.
I got all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but yeah. Oh, I wanted to tell something.
I know the feeling.
The first person,
I love you. Okay, go ahead. Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead, Clayton.
First person that can tell me something about me is going to get a free original. One of my very first comics I ever did.
There we go.
But you got to know something about me, and you got to put it in the blurb, and Brian's got to read it. Something that I know. I don't know if you know it that way. If you know me or don't know me, but you got to tell me something about me. And the first one to do it gets a free book.
There you go.
You'll have to give Brian your address so he can give it to me, I can mail it to Brian and he can give it to you, however y'all want to do it.
You declare a winner, and we will get the connections made. So to give people time to reveal everything they know about you, Rick Bradley says, my nephew is a veteran of the Iraq and Afghanistan war. He came back as a completely different person. He's just now finally getting to where he will admit things are different with him, but he's thankfully seeing a therapist and getting help. I'm glad to hear that. I know he saw and did a lot of things, and I wish he could talk to me, but I understand why. And Rick Bradley continues, he did 2.5 tours and took grenade shrapnel to his knee while he was getting his men out of the line of fire. Needless to say, he's one of my biggest heroes, as well he should be. And Bill Sarton says, kudos to all that you do. Clayton, as an artist, I say do what feels important to you and don't worry about those who might not like it. For every one of those naysayers, there's 3 more looking exactly for what you do. Very well said. And Cindy Capt says, service trades are cool. I've worked on that basis for some stuff. Now, what's the weirdest trade you've done? You talked about bartering. Is there anything you can admit to?
Y'all trying to get me arrested or something?
Okay. Well, that tells me everything I need to know.
No, I'm just joking.
Did it involve... Sorry, I had to work that in. That was hashtag Dinoporn for those of you.
I was wondering when you were going to get that in there, right? Oh my Lord, have mercy.
Oh, you thought you'd be the unruly one here, so
you throw that. How about a little Ozzy?
Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Oh my God. Oh my gosh! Oh, he's now working for Coppertone with a little lunch of bath there.
Yeah.
And let's see, has anyone said anything? Not yet. Not yet. Okay, what do you know about Clayton Murwin? Okay. And you could win an incredible comic. Trevor Hawkins, glad you're here, brother. Says, has there been a time when your art opened a door to meet someone special? Now, it sounds like you've met a whole bunch of people like Larry Hama and Billy Tucci and Charles F. Millhouse and Ron Fortier. Yes.
My artwork has allowed me to meet a whole lot of people. Actually, I'm really, really good friends with the actor Brian Krause and his son, Janet. I was invited to his son's graduation when he graduated from high school.
Oh, very cool.
I met Brian when we were doing one of the shows for Untold Stories from Iraq and Afghanistan. Brian actually came down and did a celebrity car wash with us to raise money for a project that we were doing. So I've met him. I've met Mike Roker and Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead at one of the shows. I've met Nicholas Brendan, one of my heroes, Officer and a Gentleman, and you know who I'm talking about.
Keep going.
So I met Louis Gossett Jr. He's an amazing man. Huh? What? I can't hear you, baby. You got to talk up. I can't. My wife is trying to tell me something, and she knows I'm deaf. So, that's another thing. I am 80% deaf in both ears.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wear hearing aids, and I lost one of my hearing aids. At work, and unfortunately I've only got one. So and then when I'm doing something like this, I can hear as long as it's directly in my ears. I can hear, but if you were to talk to me in person, I mostly read lips. So this whole COVID-19 thing with the mask,
that's gotta be a hell of a challenge for you.
I'm having a hell of a time trying to deal with people because I can't hear good enough without reading the lips.
Right.
Even with my one hearing aid. So, because I've got degenerative hearing loss in both ears. And that comes from when I was working as a bouncer in the nightclubs and stuff like that. I used to work by the speakers to protect the ladies. So constant noise in my ears. So, but anyway, that being said and done. But see, she likes to do that to me. She'll say something, I can't hear her, so I don't know what she said. But anyway, bless her heart. But what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So I've met quite a few people, and my artwork has allowed me to open up. And one of my guys that I got a chance to meet, I got to give him Stan Lee before he died.
Oh, yes.
And actually got to shake his hand, went up and met him.
Very cool.
Talked to him, gave him one of the portraits of my POW, MIA, prisoners of war work that I did. And Stan actually looked at me, and I saw a tear coming out of his eyes. He grabbed my hand and he thanked me for what I was doing. So I've got pictures of me and Stan, and I've posted them every now and then on my and I've used them as a cover photo. But that's when I got to meet Stan Lee. And I always liked Stan. Unfortunately, I always wanted to meet Jack Kirby, and I never got a chance to meet him.
I never did either. No.
I met Will Eisner. He was an amazing man.
Yeah.
I actually had he signed a book. He signed a book to me at a show, and I showed him some of my work, and he said it's really good. He said you've got some potential. And then he turned around and he wrote in the book to me. He says, "From the old to the new."
Oh,
keep on going. I lost that in one of my books, and it devastated me. I wish I'll never forgive myself for losing that book. But
I hear you.
But anyway, that being said and done, I mean, so I've met some great talents, artists, actors, musicians. I got to see my Kiss in concert again. I'm a huge Kiss fan too. I got to see them in concert on April 12th. Just after my birthday when I turned 56. So I was like, and I wanted to get backstage to meet Gene, but unfortunately I didn't have that kind of cash. but it was cool to be able to see him, final tour. But yeah, but actually sat down, talked with Louis Gossett, Nicholas Brendan, Norman Reedus, a whole bunch of people, Billy Tucci, Dan Parent from Archie Comics.
Oh, yes.
I know so many freaking people. It's the guy that does G.I. Joe right now, and then Rick Ketchum. Unfortunately, Rick Ketchum passed away. He used to be an inker for Marvel.
Oh, right. Yeah.
A friend of mine. And actually, Rick died from kidney failure. He had a kidney issue. Me and Michael W. Keller, we're brothers from another mother. We both were good friends with Rick. And I was actually going to try to donate my kidney to Rick. But unfortunately, I wasn't a match. So, but I stayed in touch with with him up until the day he passed away. But, that was a sad day for a lot of people. And then Charles passed away. So I've had a lot of people that I have met that have passed away since, and it's never pleasant and I try to honor people and remember them. And always, just like I do with every so often, every year on some specific days, I will post on my page in memory of some of the soldiers who have passed away that I've done portraits for. To remember them, I'll post on like special days on Memorial Day or Veterans Day or their birthday or what have you, or on the anniversary of their death. I have a friend of mine here in Florida named Dave Siemens. He runs Florida Fallen Heroes. And he set that organization up when his son, Timothy J. Siemens, passed away. I did a portrait for Dave of his son, along with another amazing individual who's another Vietnam vet, Michael Reagan. Michael Reagan worked on the Fallen Hero Project. He's done over 5,000 and some portraits. I'm nowhere near what he's done. He's done over. He's eventually going to try to do every single person that has passed. Amazing. I want to do a story about Michael, and I've asked him about that, and he sent me some information about it, but I still haven't had the chance to sit down and do it. Right. But Michael Reagan is amazing, man. He's done artwork for presidents. He's done artwork for actors. The president. He's an amazing artist. And when you haven't had a chance to check out his work, check out the Fallen Heroes Project. That's what he does. And he's done over 5,000 portraits of fallen heroes, of men and women that have served this country and have died. And whether it's a family member, and a wife, a husband, he brings them back to life. And, I don't put myself in his category, but it's similar to what I was doing. Unfortunately, I've not done that many. But every person that we've touched, they appreciate it.
That's great.
But yeah, I've met some great people. I've met some wonderful people like you, Charles, and everybody. It's just, I love it. I try to have a good time and do what I say and say what I do.
There you go. And the best part is we got to meet you.
Yeah.
Michaela,
I'm sure that's so good.
Go with me. I'm the host. Anyway, Michaela Routley says, I love canvas and acrylic paint. It's the one thing I'm good at. You're good at a lot of things, Michaela Routley. Don't just limit yourself. And Trevor Hawkins asks you from YouTube, do you ever do collaborations with other artists?
Yeah. If you're interested in working with me on a project, contact me, let me know, give me the ins and outs of it, and I can say yes or no. It's just that simple. All you got to do is contact me, and I'll let you know what my availability. I'm gonna tell you right now, though, anybody, but unless it's if it's a overtly large project where it's a lot of work involved, I'm not gonna be able to do anything the rest of the year until next year. All right, so I got to finish up what I got this year, and then so if it's a big project, it'll have to wait till next year.
I understand that.
Because I am actually working on a project for Ron Fortier. I'm not getting into a whole lot of detail, but I am actually going to be doing, I am trying to help him bring forth something that's been put on the back burner for 25 years. So that's how long, that's how long it's been taking him to try to get this book out there. and it's
Holy cow!
on his title, Captain Hazard. So I am doing some artwork for that, and I'm actually taking over the chores of finishing some artwork on some missing pages, and I'm doing all of book 3. So that's a little blurb out there. That's what I'm going to be doing. So that's a kind of a major project that I'm working on in the meantime, as far as the comics style of things. I've got someone's just contacted me that's wanting me to do something with them for a graphic novel. They're supposed to get back in touch with me about it. We've initially been talking. Nothing's been approved or decided yet, but that's out there. So yes, I do collaborations. If you have something, a small project, or even if it's a large project, I won't be available until next year. But if you're interested in working with me on something, I will do commissions like covers. That's what I'm trying to gear, because I can put that kind of stuff out pretty quick. Covers for books, paperbacks, novels, whatever, magazines, comics, it doesn't matter. Logos type stuff, character design, anything that I can do quickly, is better for me at this present time, if you're interested in anything. But any major stuff, contact me. I will give you my schedule rough about when I will be able to do it. If it works with you, then, we can collaborate. If not, then I guess I lose out. But
well, and people can contact you through your website, the artoftheheromaker.com, correct?
Yep. You can contact me on Art of the Heromaker, www.artoftheheromaker.com. You can become a member on my website. It's free. I do news and updates. I try to do that, but my Facebook page is similar to my website. My website is really out there. I've got stuff all over the place. I'm on WordPress, Facebook, Blogger, I'm my name, if you type in Clayton Murwin, and I will tell you this, if somebody pulls up something, there was something regarding me and a situation. I was trying to do something for a fallen soldier. Unfortunately, it got out of hand. People got involved in it that didn't want to do it. They accused me of some stuff that wasn't true. Nothing was done because there was nothing to back anything up with it. This is when I was running my nonprofit. So if you do Google my name, you will probably come up with something about that. And it says that I was investigated. Nothing was ever done. I never did anything wrong. So I'm not ashamed to say anything. But as it is, people are hurting. So I don't blame the people that did it. But unfortunately, a lot of bad blood was left behind that. But it's out there. It's on the interweb. So I'm just letting people know. Believe all of what you don't read and none of what you do read. So that's
right. Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you can't believe everything you see on the interweb. So
I try to. But if you want to work with me on something, or if you'd like me to do a cover, if you'd like me to do a sketch, if you'd like me to do a commission, I do portraits. I do, kind of like character portraits, not caricatures, but I will take put your kid or yourself or whatever in a superhero type situation, which I've done for quite a few kids, and stuff like that. Like I did a friend of mine as Batman, the Adam West Batman, removing his cowl. This guy I went to school with. So, and it looks pretty cool, so I do stuff like that. Cover work, I'm really, really looking for cover work, especially for any of the new pulp stuff, the action adventure series, stuff like that. Even some romance novels or whatever, people, I'm in some of these author groups, you guys can come on, talk to me. I mean, I don't bite. Come on over and talk.
We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah.
And Michaela Rowley reminds me she's 16. You act so much more mature, or maybe I just act so much more immaturely. Bill Sarton says, if I have someone who can't afford one of my sketches, I suggest that they buy a print of one of my sketches for a cheaper price. Plus, when someone buys more than one of my pieces, the cheaper the price gets. It's a very cool way to conduct business. Bill Sarden, Sarden Art 76, the artwork of Bill Sarden on Facebook. Also, Rick Bradley says, I do have a really cool picture of the shadow on my wall right now, done by you, Clayton Murwin, and he loves it. I remember you drawing that thing live on Charles F. Millhouse Presents, and holy cats, that was a beautiful piece of work. Cindy Capt says, and now you know, and knowing is half the battle. The rest of the battle is red and blue lasers. Oh, we love you, Cindy. And the most fun I had with my pals was often the X-Men issues we totally made up on the fly. I used to do that with my comics. I'd run out of a story and I'd have to go make my own. So, just an idle mind is the devil's playground, so mine would be Disneyland. Bill Sarden says, too much distracting technology retards personal creativity. I agree completely. I think, Bill, we all do. And Bill Sarden says, hashtag make Clayton Murwin a full-time artist. Now, I second that emotion. Now, here we go. Now, Bill's throwing his hat in the ring here. All he knows about Clayton is that he's a great artist who loves his wife. And I thanked God when they were once again reunited. Separation anxiety is a horrible thing that I also experienced as well. I think
you have just won yourself one of my first books.
There you go.
Information to Mr.
No one knows who I am. It's okay. No. Anyway, Bill, you're probably friends with Clayton already, and if you're not, you should be. But if you want to send your home address to me, I will make sure Clayton gets it, or just send it to Clayton directly via Facebook direct messenger. Okay.
Yep.
All right. We have a winner. We have a
winner for the first issue of one of my first comics, and I will sign it for you. But don't laugh at the artwork. Okay.
Oh no! How could we laugh?
Some of it is horrible.
Yeah, but the thing is, your horrible is probably 10 times better than what the rest of us can do. There's a reason why I don't draw anymore. Man.
It's horrible. Here, hold on.
I'm not buying that. I am not buying that, Clayton.
I'm going to show you. See, it's horrible. Look.
Okay, let's see. Let's see it.
It's horrible. Look at her face. She looks like a man. It's horrible. And her face is smashed in there. Look at that. It's horrible.
Yeah, well, this is the adventure of a woman who had her face smashed in. I'm sure I can tell from here. I'm trying to defend you, sir. No, I had this horrible time drawing women when I was young. And for the life of me, I always wanted to make them look like superhero men. And it's just, most guys can draw women like crazy, like Billy Tucci. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Can you draw women?
And most artists do. When I draw them, they look like monsters from the planet Dog. And I'm like, I have gotten better, though.
Yeah.
They do look, my women do look like women now. Yeah, I drew a portrait of my wife. Mm-hmm. Needless to say, I'm lucky I escaped alive. She said if I ever tried to draw her again, she'd baptize me. But anyway,
only dogs will hear you scream.
Yeah, I will never try to draw my wife again. But anyway,
smart man. You'll live longer that way. And Bill Sarn says that's awesome, Clayton Murwin. I'll message you my mailing address after the show. Thank you so much.
All right, there, Bill. You got it, buddy.
All right.
Or you can send it over to you when I get your address.
Sounds good. Excellent. People really do win on Clever Title Pending.
Yes, they do. And right here with your gracious host, Brian K. Morris.
Like it.
That only on Clever Title Pending can you get the kind of quantity and quality that you get.
Because no one else will have me. Anyway, Rick Bradley says something about Clayton. You were a correctional officer for 3 years. Did I win? Oh, well, you win the satisfaction of you've got that shadow portrait, dude.
A copy of my first book. Send me your address.
Rick Bradley, you heard the man. Send him your address, man.
Send me your
Seriously.
address and I'll send you a copy of my book and I'll sign it.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you so much. Thank you for treating my people.
Real certain you two are winners tonight on Clever Title Pending with Brian Morris and one and only Clayton Murwin, the Heromaker at large.
That's right. And don't expect this every week, people, okay? Because we've got a real slow budget here on this show. It's only when we get the A-listers here, you know. But anyway, and thank you very much, Clayton. That's very gracious of you. And we've got a couple people here saying, Cindy Capt says, say the magic word, and the ducks come out. We all remember that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, George Fenneman. And Rick Bradley goes, woohoo! He is a happy boy tonight. And we've got a hello from Mr. Ed Williams. What's up, Clayton?
What's up, Ed? Let me give you a little story about this guy, Ed Williams.
All right.
Ed Williams, I remember he was a little kid. I went to school with his sister and Cindy. And Ed used to love to watch me draw. And I gave him some artwork and stuff like that. Well, Ed's actually a pretty good artist himself. I inspired Ed to draw. At least that's what he told me. So he'll verify or deny. But Ed has told me many times that me being an artist and him looking at my work, that he would used to sit there and try to recreate what I drew for him. And so he always kind of looked up to him. We became friends afterwards and got back in touch a couple of years ago. His father was in the military as well. But Ed is turned out to be a pretty good artist himself. He's getting better and better every day. And I'm very proud in the fact that I actually inspired him to pick up that pencil and create. So you guys can check him out too. He's got an art page, I think, on Facebook. His name is Ed Williams, and I remember he was knee high to a grasshopper when I was in my 20s. So
very cool. Hey, listen, Ed, if you want to put the link down for your art page, please feel free to do that. And everybody check out that man's work. And Ed Williams further states, Clayton is one of the few artists who inspired me to pick up a pencil and try to copy his work. I was probably around 10 years old when I started. How does it feel, Clayton, to inspire somebody with your work?
Well, I mean, I'm grateful. I mean, it's same with my granddaughters. I got two granddaughters that are actually quite little artists themselves.
Nice.
And, Kira and Cassie, and both of them, Kira tends to be more artistic than Cassie, but, or at least following in it more. But, I used to teach kids to draw when I was the local kids and sit down with them and show them how to do, start out with a circle for the head and cylinders for the arms. And what people don't realize is it's just like this little figure here. And this is why I keep this on my desk. This figure right here, everything about this figure is basically how you draw. There's nothing but circles, cylinders, squares, triangles, all geometric shapes. Those geometric shapes are put together to form, and lines are removed to form what we see as this. Because if you look at I got a circle on top of my shoulders. If you come across here and come down, it's basically upside down triangle. So if you do it the same way, the triangle coming this way and that way, that's your hip area. Then you got two circles where your hips are and two cylinders coming down for the legs, two circles for the knees, two cylinders for the lower half of the legs. Same things with the fist, two circles, knuckles, circle, 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 cylinder, cylinder, cylinder. That's all you have to do. Geometric shapes. Drawing a house, drawing perspective, drawing anything. Anything that you draw can be done from a shape. So you have to concentrate. Where it gets funny and where it gets interesting is when you take all that, pull it together, and then you've got your lighting, your shadowing, and what have you that you have to put in together. If you look at the picture of my background right now, I got a overhead light, right? So the overhead light is shining this side of my head, right? this side over here is a bit darker. So if I was to draw this scene right here, I would be drawing this where this side of my head is a little bit darker. This side is the light coming down. So that's the mood. That's ambient light, which is coming, or direct light, which is coming straight down on my head. Then I've got ambient light in different parts of the room. So it makes everything. So you have to take all that into consideration when you're doing your piece.
Yep.
It sounds a lot more difficult than what it is, but it takes training and persistence and patience to learn it. And I've been doing this for 56 years. Well, let me see. I'll knock a couple of years off. Let's say 50 years.
There we go. I was going to say you were doing it in utero. So,
well, I'll put it even lower. 47 years, 48 years, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm still learning. I still learn every single day. And if you ever get to a point where you think you can't be taught something, or you can't be shown something, or you can't be told something, and you think you're that in a bag of chips, well, guess what? You're not. Because everybody can learn something. Everybody can, from anybody. Even sometimes you can even learn something from somebody that don't know what they're talking about. That has happened to me too. So,
that would be me. Anyway, and anyway, just do all those simple things that Clayton was recommending, but do them 10,000 times so you're only half as good as he is. Russell Allen, glad you're here, brother, says, after 2 long years of working on him, I have finally gotten Ed Williams to draw live online on my channel. What Ed Williams are you talking about? Well, you can find him on Instagram at Ed's Artworks, and that's Artworks instead of a KS, it's an X at the end. Russell Allen will also tell you that you can find him on Facebook, Ed's Artworks, again with an X, on the Book of Faces. So check out that man's amazing work. And Ed Williams says it's awesome to see Clayton inspired and doing great art. That's true. Now, if Clayton could just work up a little bit of energy on this show, we'd be okay here, and try to cheer up a little, for God's sakes. Anyway, and Russell Allen says, thanks for being on tonight, Clayton. It was great to meet you.
Well, I appreciate that, Russell. Thank you. I hope everybody, that everybody that watched tonight, I appreciate your questions. I appreciate share. Let people know that I'm out there and stuff. I appreciate you taking time out to watch the show and listen to me gabble on. If I can leave you with one thing, that would be the best thing to tell you is, no matter what your desire is, whether you're a writer, poetry, whether it's art, sculpture, whatever, you only can be what you can be by practice. And so if you really, really want to do, I'm in my 50s. I've come to the realization I'm never going to be working for DC. I'm never going to work for Marvel. But you know what? That's okay. Because it's not about the money for me or the recognition for me. It's about, like with Ed Williams, inspiring someone else to do something, or knowing that I had a little significance piece in someone being inspired by what I do and touching someone in that respect. If you could touch one person in your life doing one thing, it's just like we're doing the Korean War books or anything else. If you can touch someone's life and inspire them or excite them to do something and to pick up and to go into uncharted territory, then guess what? You've done an amazing thing, because you've inspired that person to take a chance on themselves and to try to create something and develop something. And whether they become successful at it or not, the simple fact that they are willing to take the chance to do it is success in itself. I might not be as successful as a lot of people that have been in the industry for years, but I do know that the few things that I have done have made significant changes and differences in people's life. And to me, that, regardless of the money or recognition, that's the most important thing that I can take away as an artist, is knowing that I actually. So if you can do that, you're a hero maker.
Oh man, that's powerful, brother. That is so powerful. Thank you for sharing it with us. Seriously, Clayton. And a couple more comments here. Molly Daniel says she's popping in late, but it's good to see you, Clayton. And Rick Bradley says it was a great show tonight, Clayton. Thank you for everything you did. And says the host is okay. I don't know about that, but anyway, Clayton, seriously, thank you so much for being on Clever Title Pending tonight. You gave us a lot to think about. Thank you for all the cool stuff you've done, and looking forward to more great work out of you. And 2021, we're gonna have to do something together. We will do something together.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Go to Amazon. Get Captain Hawklin and the Ghost Army by Charles F. Millhouse, covered by Clayton Murwin. Go to Amazon. Get Who's Who New Pulp. I'm featured in it along with Rick Morris. Brian. Why do I keep saying Rick? Along with Brian K. Morris and a couple of people. I don't know why. I think Rick Bradley and I'm getting confused. I'm old. I'm gray. What can I say?
Get the hell off my lawn, Clayton.
Yeah. Go to Amazon. Get The Eye of Dawn by Brad Senior. Artwork inside by Clayton Murwin. That's all. Shameless plugs. What can I say? Kick me off.
That's what we thrive on in this environment here. Shameless plugs. I have no way to throw stones at you. Also, don't forget theartoftheheromaker.com, www.theartoftheheromaker.com on the interwebs, and also The Art of the Hero Maker on Facebook. And Cindy Capt says, good job, you guys. Thank you, Cindy, for your comments and questions. Ed Williams says, great show, guys. Hashtag inspiration, seriously. And thanks for playing, says Cindy Capt. And don't forget to tip your host. Well, there we go. It's the only tip I get around here. Anyway, Rick Bradley, Brian could be mistaken for worse people, I guess. It's you that now have. Rick, it's now you that has to worry.
Why I keep saying Rick? I'm like, what the freak am I saying Rick for?
I know.
I feel like the back of my hand, but I'm like, why am I doing that? But see, that's what happens when we get old. We tend to forget. The other day, what was it? Real quick. The other day, I went to do something. And I literally stood there in the middle of the floor, and I was going, what am I doing? I completely forgot what I was trying to do or what I was doing. And I never did remember what it was, so I just started doing something else. But I swear sometimes I'm getting Alzheimer's, but that being said and done. But, yeah, I enjoyed tonight. I am honored, and I am gratefully thankful that you had me on tonight, Mr. Morris. And,
sir.
You know, it was a good show, I think, and I really enjoyed doing it, and I hope to, you know, maybe I'm thinking about tipping my toes in the water and trying maybe do shows myself.
I think you should.
If I do, I think I might get you on and have you come on and help me do my first show. But that being said, I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure I want to go in that direction yet, because I'm not no Billy Tucci. I ain't no Brian K. Morris, and I ain't no Charles F. Millhouse.
Well, you have a great qualification. Well, you're already qualified because you're not me.
No, but thank you for the forum, Brian. I mean, seriously.
Thank you, man.
You do a great job. I love listening to your show. I don't listen to you as much because my work schedule keeps me from listening when you're on a lot. But when I do get the chance, I do listen to all your reruns. So
I appreciate that.
So I might not be on live, but I always watch your stuff afterwards. But I love your shows. I love your stuff. You're a great talent. You're a great guy. You're a fantastic author, and along with some other great, fantastic authors that I've come to know through you. And it's through you, sir, you, Mr. Morris, that I have reached into the pulp house of the new pulp house industry. And I thank you for that, sir.
Oh, man, thank you so much for those kind words. And Russell Allen says Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Russell Allen says you can always go on with me at Russ Explode Studios with Ed Williams. There we go.
Oh, Russell
And
Allen, all you got to do, man, is send me a friend request and sort me out, and I'll be happy to come on your show and talk to you about something sometime.
exactly. And Russ, I probably should go on your show too. Not that I'm trying to do more broadcasting or see my face, but Russell was on my show on Saturday for Indie Event, and he was fantastic. Clayton, tell that beautiful wife of yours, says Rick Bradley, we all said hello, and our prayers are with her dealing with you.
Okay. Beautiful wife. Rick Bradley says hello, and his prayers are with you dealing with me.
I heard that from here. Oh, and Rick Bradley tells you how to keep the two of us, Rick Bradley and myself, apart. Rick Bradley's the cuter one. Anyway, I'd have to agree with you too. And Russell Allen says that would be a great show. And done and done. And Ed, let's pick a date. Brian, let's do it. I agree. Let's do that, man, because you were fantastic on the Saturday Indie Event show. And please check out that show. And also, folks, if you came in late, go back and watch this handsome young man on the right-hand side of your screen here be so eloquent and so amazing and so talented. Clayton Murwin, the art of the Heromaker. Again, thank you, brother, for being here. It has been a blessing to have you here.
God bless you. May the force of Batman be with you.
And may Rao smile upon you as well, my young man.
Gotham Knight.
I love it. I love it. Okay, we're gonna put you on. We're gonna put you on mute here, and I'll close out the show. And if you can stay around, so I can thank you. Yeah, there we go. Another satisfied customer. Anyway, thank you so much, Clayton Murwin. You are the best. Anyway, thank you so much to Clayton Murwin, the art of the Heromaker. Please check him out on Facebook, his page by the same name. Friend this man because he's crazy talented, and so glad he's on the show. And if he thinks this is the only time he's going to be on, he's got another thing coming. Anyway, and thank you all for your comments. Thank you for your questions. You are an integral part of the show. And next week we hope you'll pop in on Clever Title Pending, just checking my notes, make sure I get them right, because I'm not going to screw up anyone else's name, especially when it's author Amy Hale. Amy Hale will be joining us next week with news of some new projects and everything. She will be here to be wonderful, and we hope you'll be here too 1 week from tonight. So anyway, thank you all for watching Clever Title Pending. Please join us next week again, like I said, with Amy Hale at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central Time next Tuesday. And be sure to check out our website, risingtide.pub, where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. The new issue just went out this evening. And if you don't want to miss out on October's, then definitely sign up for that as soon as you can. And because we list in that newsletter what's going on with Rising Tide Publications, as well as providing motivation, education, and inspiration to you all. And it's a couple of special secret links in there too. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and ring that bell so you can be notified of any future appearances I make here. And if you're watching on Facebook, please give the Rising Tide Publications page a like so you can join the 2,100 or so wonderful people who see 3 or 4 new things every day on that page. So anyway, this is Brian K. Morris for Clayton Murwin, the art of the Heromaker, saying thank you very much for being here, and tell your friends about this show. And don't forget, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. We'll see you next week on Clever Title Pending. Take care, everyone. Superman agrees.
Thank you for tuning in to Clever Title Pending, a Rising Tide Publications and Brian K. Morris production. A member of Comic Book Advocating Network and sponsored by GeekInsider.com. Become part of our show with sponsorship and advertising opportunities. For details, contact advertising at GeekInsider.com or visit podcast.geekinsider.com. The Geek Insider podcast is available on your favorite app, so please hit the follow button and share it out to your friends. Because if you don't, you might have to turn in your geek card.